Welcome to Heart's Home. I'm your host, Lizzie Siegel, and whether you've been here since the beginning or you've just found your way into this space, I wish to welcome you home. Welcome to Heart's Home. Let's just take a breath. Take a moment and arrive. This season feels different. And it's not because I figured everything out. I literally still got my notes on my computer. And it's definitely not because I've arrived at the final destination. It's not over yet. If it were the final destination, it'd be over. And it's certainly not because I have all the answers. Actually, it's quite the opposite. And I've really learned, and now I know, that I'm never going to have all the answers, because as I expand, consciousness expands and infinite realities expand. So we can't ever know everything. However, we always know what we need to know when we need to know it. I am coming to you from this beautiful forest in Barrie, Ontario, my home. And I am navigating mosquitoes. Something that I have noticed since I've moved from Kuwait to Canada, especially as the bugs come out for the summer. Bugs, I'm not a fan. I'm just, please go over there and bite something else. Don't bite me. And so I have to navigate the elements. And the bugs are part of it. So you might hear me, see me swatting and slapping at things as they bite me. I try not to kill them, but I definitely don't want them to eat me. So this season is born from the realization, and it has been born and it will continue to be born from the realization that I don't need all the answers. And neither do you. You literally just need to know what you need to know when you need to know it. And you will always know that in the exact right moment. Not a moment sooner, not a moment later. Over the last 4 years, I'm going to take you on a little journey with me. Not over the last 4 years, but I'm going to take you on a journey with me about this podcast, about this soulpreneur journey, and about what I have learned along the way. Over the last 4 years, I've invested over $100,000 into my personal growth and my business journey. And I know some people may be like, say what? And some people may be like, that's totally normal. And there's all infinite responses in between. And I've hired coaches. I've joined masterminds. I've earned multiple certifications. I have like a ridiculous amount of certifications. I've built offers. I've hired people. I've fired people. I've changed directions. I've followed strategies, I've ignored some strategies, I've succeeded, I've learned some tough lessons others would call failure. I've pivoted, I've expanded, I've contracted, I've questioned everything, and through it all, I've remembered the truth of who I am. Sorry, mosquito. And somewhere along the way, I reached the milestone that I used to think would change everything. The elusive building a 6-figure business. Woo! Yeah, I totally did it. And you know what happened? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And at the same time, everything. Because I realized that the thing that I had been searching for, that I had been pursuing, that had been chasing, it wasn't actually waiting on the other side of that revenue goal. And that was honestly like one of the toughest, I thought I would feel a certain type of way at this stage kind of moment. What I was actually searching for along the way, and this was what I learned, and now I share it freely and I teach everybody and offer it to everybody that I encounter because it's so important. What I was actually searching for all along was permission. And the permission was to trust myself. And where did that permission come from? this gal from me. And so that's what I want to talk about today. A lot of this conversation, a lot of this Soul-liloquay. It's not just the lessons that I've learned that I'm going to share, but the journey that brought me to here, to this exact moment in this beautiful forest. The forest is for rest, and it is for enjoying and being one with nature. The journey that brought me here. I love to look at it as the heroine's journey. It's the soul-preneur journey. And I'm not saying solopreneur. I'm not saying entrepreneur. I'm very choosy with my words. I feel like I coined this phrase many moons ago. The soul-preneur journey. It's the journey from healing to creation. The journey from searching for answers to remembering that all of the answers were never outside of me in the first place. We've all heard that expression, the answers are within. You have everything you need within you. And honestly, that's so true. It's 100% true. You are the universe. You're having an experience so that you can remember this truth. And if I can save you 4 years and $100,000 plus, I would. And I can. And I would love to. Not because the journey wasn't valuable. Oh, it was so valuable. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. Personally, it was worth more than $100,000 to me. The thing is, because there are some things that I learned along the way that I couldn't have learned any other way, I wouldn't change it for the world. And if I can guide you and help you and show you a simpler, easier way, it would be my honor and my pleasure to do that. And maybe hearing the lessons that I've learned, the wisdom I've gathered along the way today, will help you trust yourself a little sooner, a little more deeply, and with all the conviction that you need to be all of you and who you came here to be. For much of my life, I believe there was a right way to do life. I believe that there was a right path, a right timeline, a right set of accomplishments that would eventually lead to my self-fulfillment. So I followed the rules. I was the good girl. I stayed in line. I became the achiever, the responsible one, the one who held everything, the one who regulated everything, the teacher, the person who followed all the rules, and I checked all those little boxes. And I did it even though I ignored myself, I ignored my intuition, and I self-abandoned time and time again. Hindsight's 20/20, friends. And underneath all of this was a quiet dissatisfaction. And it was quiet at first, and then it got louder and louder and louder. There was a whisper at first, this knowing, and then it turned into a scream, and then it turned into like charades. It was a messy ride. And there was always this feeling that there had to be more. There was this knowingness within me that I was meant for something more, that I was available for something more. More freedom, more authenticity, more aliveness, more me, less what everybody else perceived, or I perceived what everybody else perceived that I should be. Isn't that funny? It wasn't their perceptions, it was my perceptions of what I thought they were perceiving me to be. Go figure. And along the way, I listened to all the other people. And I think many people here, if you are here, I know that you know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. And it's not because life is terrible. Actually, quite the contrary. Life's quite wonderful. Life's pretty amazing. It's not because you failed. You're actually probably incredibly successful. It's because there's something inside of you that keeps on saying, there's more available here. There's something else. Keep going. Keep searching until you know yourself. And eventually, that whisper turned into a scream. And that scream sent me on a search through spirituality, a search through personal development, a search through yoga, breath meditation, Ayurveda, energy healing, sound healing, human design, gene keys, psyche, coaching, certifications, retreats, hosting the retreats, books, writing journals, offering programs, being part of programs, being in communities, offering communities, being part of experiences, offering the experiences, the podcasting, all of it. While I learned so much from all of those experiences, one of the hardest lessons I had to learn wasn't about business at all. It wasn't about marketing, it wasn't about money, and it wasn't even about healing. It was about self-trust, because over and over again, I would find someone who seemed to have all the answers, who seemed to have it all figured out. A coach, a mentor, a teacher, someone successful, someone wise, someone who had the results that I admired. And because I didn't fully trust myself yet, I would abandon my own knowing in order to follow theirs. I thought that they knew something that I didn't. I thought that if I followed closely enough, eventually I'd arrive. Some of the most heart-wrenching pieces of advice were the moments that I've never forgotten, and I'd love to share some snippets and personal stories here. So the first coach I ever had was one of the best experiences and one of the most challenging. It was actually the reason why I started coaching in the first place, because I heard through her podcast what coaching was even. I didn't even really know what it was until this. I was a volleyball coach, so I knew what that kind of coaching was, but I had no idea what personal development, business, life, any of that kind of coaching was. And she had a podcast, and she made it so clear through her podcast why somebody would hire a coach. Collapses timelines. It gives you all the shortcuts. It helps you be in a community. It keeps you going and motivates you along the journey. And all those things are still totally true. And the work that she was doing was really resonating with me at a time. And when I got inside her container, not only was it kind of different than what I thought it would be, but there was something that really stuck out to me because it crushed my spirit a little. And it was this that she said: it's not enough to just be inspirational. Ooh, that hit me like a dagger, because one, I don't agree with that. That's not true. You being an inspiration, you being the catalyst that breathes life, that breathes vitality, that breathes energy into somebody else is absolutely enough. And if that's what it takes to get somebody else to move, that's absolutely enough. And I know she probably didn't mean it in the way my sensitive soul took it, but I definitely felt, because it was in a session where I was also told to change the way that I was speaking to people, who I was speaking to, and that instead of speaking to the specific people I was speaking to, I should speak to the masses, because the way I was speaking, they wouldn't understand me. And now that I am grounded in my truth and I know the way I am and who I'm here for, I'm like, those weren't my people anyway. Like, the idea that I should abandon who I'm speaking to speak to the masses aren't my people. I'm not for everyone. There's that meme that goes, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. And there's two versions that I love. And it's one, I'm a blunt, to be honest. And the other one is, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. To be honest, I'm probably ayahuasca. Ana, it's me. Ana in Arabic means I. So I still use a lot of the Arabic phrases that I picked up over the last 12 years when I get excited or like drop them into conversations. So that'll happen this season. Welcome. Anyway, so realizing that I'm not everyone's cup of tea was something that I actually took quite a long time to get okay with. And so if I could impart that wisdom on you from the very beginning, be you, because nobody else can be you. Speak to the people you're here to speak to. Be for the ones you know you're here for. Don't try to be like everybody else. Everybody else is already taken. Be you, baby. Another coach that I had, often I felt called out instead of upward and forward. There was so much subtle shaming and like, if you're not doing it this way, you're doing it wrong type of vibes. And honestly, she was learning and growing and figuring it out as she went. And I can see that now. She had way too much going on, more than she knew how to handle. And I know this because so many balls were dropped, including my first individual coaching session with her. She literally didn't show up for it and didn't even know that it was happening. And that really triggered my abandonment wound at the time, and boy, was that a road to recovery. She did know marketing through and through, and she was so good at it. That's why I bought into her containers. That's why I bought into what she was doing. And still, she's excellent to this day at marketing. Mashallah, she's so good at it. She knew how to say all the right things to get you into her spaces and to collect your money and how to do that. However, she didn't deliver at the level she was charging at, in my opinion. I remember one call we were on, and she was going through something hard at the time. So it was absolutely understandable. And we spent about 20 minutes of the hour-long call that was meant for me, holding space for her, talking about her thing. Meanwhile, I had paid $1,000 for this hour-long call. And after the call, my takeaways were, one day, I will totally charge this much for my work. And two, actually offering a transformation and having actionable steps and holding space for your client is so, so, so important. And it's key that you don't just pay $1,000 to chat with somebody. Very different vibes. I learned the value of being unshakable in your confidence and doing no wrong in your own eyes and total self-love and compassion, because that's what she had for herself. When I brought this up to her, she was really compassionate to herself and was really like okay with the mistake, and she was really okay that she hadn't done her best with me because she was still learning, and she was really compassionate to herself about that, and I really honored that in her. And I was like, dang, I need to learn and impart this unshakable confidence in myself. So definitely it's something that I've worked on over the years, and I also know how to say sorry and take accountability for the role that I play when I'm not in full integrity and in alignment with my offerings. And that has happened. So again, I've learned so much from these beautiful coaches. And a third mentor that I had would shame people jokingly. And even to this day, it still happens, and it never sits well with me. I know that they mean it jokingly and funny-esque, but it's not funny. It's not funny to shame people. It's not funny to poke at people's insecurities. It's not funny to ever judge, shame, or blame somebody, especially when they're doing this work, especially when they're growing. And also, they would tell some people what they were saying, creating, and building wouldn't work because it didn't fit their mold. And I'm like, what? What is going on here? They're building something because they are them. They are not you. Mentorship is very different than copy-paste. We want to expand people, not contract them, not confine them into boxes. And so all of these experiences have led me to a profound realization. Their way worked because it was their way. It was perfect for them. Their strategy worked because it was aligned with them. Their path worked because it was their path. They were walking their own path, and that was perfect for them. And while parts of it could absolutely support me and all the other people in these containers, none of it could replace my own inner knowing. So I took a break, a long break, and I went inward, and I remembered who the I am again, and what I am. So this is my wisdom to share and impart on you. No coach can tell you who you are. A great coach can help you remember. A great teacher can help you remember. A great leader can help you remember. A great guide can guide you to know your own way and help you remember. But nobody can hand you your truth. That you discover through living. That you discover through experimenting, through self-inquiry, through creating, through the becoming process. And this realization changed everything about the way that I work. It changed everything about the way that I received coaching, guidance, mentorship, support, and the way that I joined spaces, because I had activated a level of discernment. I had activated my intuition to really, truly be my guide. I stopped trying to become the answer. And instead, I started creating the conditions where I could find my own and where other people could discover their own. And that is why I call myself a resource and reality architect. Because my job isn't to tell people who they should be. My job is to help them remember who they already are. It's to help them stop outsourcing their authority and to start resourcing within. To help them remember that they are the permission slip. You are the permission slip. You are the magic. You are the medicine you've been searching for. And everything else is simply a resource that helps you access it. I guide people and myself to reconnect with the inner resources, to resource, to return to source, to align with the divine within, and to remember who you are, and to imagine and dream into existence a life that you love, the most blissful existence, and to actually take inspired and aligned action steps so that you can anchor those dreams into reality. And you get to self-realize, to see it with your real eyes, and to actually experience it. And this is my greatest joy and passion and desire. Now, if the story ended there, it would be a beautiful story about self-trust. But that's actually not the biggest thing that I learned. The biggest thing that I learned came after years of healing, years of growth, years of personal development, years of spiritual awakening, and years of trying to become the best version of myself. Because eventually I started noticing something. Many of the people around me, including myself at times, were becoming incredible at healing. We were becoming incredible at processing, understanding, learning, studying, analyzing, identifying patterns, finding shadows, working on ourselves. And while all of that has tremendous value, I began to notice a trap, a loop. It's what I now call the healing loop. It's always healing, always processing, always preparing, always learning, always getting ready, always waiting for the moment we finally feel ready enough, healed enough, clear enough, confident enough, worthy enough. And meanwhile, life keeps moving. Dreams remain dreams, ideas remain ideas, businesses stayed in notebooks, relationships stayed in the imagination, and vision stayed trapped inside our minds because we were still preparing. And one day, I realized something that completely changed the trajectory of my work. Healed is not the destination. Living is. Creating is. Expressing who you truly are and embodying that is. Participating in the experience of being alive is the point. This is what we came here for. Remember? And then suddenly everything began to look different. I had to get real honest with myself. And that was like, oh, that was a little bit jarring, not gonna lie. I stopped asking, how do I heal this? And I started asking, what wants to be created here? What wants to be expressed through me? I stopped asking, what's wrong with me? And I started asking, what am I being invited to become? I stopped asking, how do I fix this? And I started asking, what is this showing me? These shifts in the way that we ask questions, in the way that we perceive what is happening to us, these are the shifts that change everything. Because so often the thing creating the suffering isn't actually the circumstance itself. It's the way we perceive the circumstance, and it's the tension that we experience. The tension comes from resisting the true self. It's the tension of trying to be someone you're not. It's the tension of holding onto identities you've outgrown. It's the tension of believing you need to earn your worth. And it's the tension of trying to control life instead of participating in it and allowing life to flow through you. And this is where I see so many people get stuck with imposter syndrome. Because the thing is, you're not an imposter to the version of the self that you are becoming. What you're actually an imposter to is the version of the life that you're still holding on to because you're afraid to let go of it, because what if? What if you failed? And there's that famous quote, but my darling, what if you fly? What if you started looking at the most possible, beautiful, expansive, wonderful, dreamy outcome instead of worrying about the worst case scenario? And to be fair, experience the worst case scenario. Let yourself go there with intention. Allow yourself to experience what that would be like. Bring all the fears up, all the things that you need to bring up, so that you can let that live out in your imagination and then go, well, wasn't that bad? And I don't prefer that outcome. So actually, I'm not gonna go that direction. I'm going to go in the direction I do prefer. That is the work. And it doesn't have to be hard work, but it is the heart work. And one of my gifts that I've discovered in my own work is my ability to trace that tension back to its source, to gently follow the thread back to the heart of the matter, back to the belief, back to the story, back to the identity, and back to the place where we forgot who we are. And then lovingly unwind it, not by fighting it, not by shaming it, not by blaming it, not by forcing it to change, but by bringing awareness, compassion, understanding, love, and truth to it. I call this illuminating and integrating the shadows. And it's a beautiful process. And I want to tell you a little personal story here that is just one of my favorite moments of being able to describe my work because of the mirror that saw me and who sees my soul. A dear friend of mine aptly described the work that I do after a profound session we had. He is certified and gifted with massage, and he said, "You do what I do, but for the soul." And then he went on to describe that I gently and lovingly identified the knot in the conscious awareness and traced it back to the subconscious beliefs and identities and followed the tension all the way to the superconscious or the soul lesson, getting at the heart of the matter and massaging out the knot of the soul. Not physically, but it was energetically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And I loved that description, and I use that description to this day. Helping people release the tension of living against themselves is what I love to do. Because what I've found is that underneath all of that tension, there is usually so much wisdom. Underneath the fear, there's usually truth. Underneath the control, there is usually trust asking to emerge. Underneath the limitation, there is often a launch pad to your liberation. And underneath the dissatisfaction, there is a deeper longing for vitality, for aliveness, for expression, for life itself moving through you as you, because it is you. Over time, I've come to realize that one of my greatest gifts is refinement. Not perfection, refinement. The ability to sense when something isn't quite aligned, when it isn't quite right, when something isn't quite working, when there is a hidden tension, an inefficiency, a distortion, or an unconscious pattern quietly draining energy. It's like I can hone in on that and be like, oh, it's right there. Let's just turn the dial on that and like give it a little tweak. My gene keys actually describe this beautifully. It's my life's work gene key, the 58th gene key. It moves from the shadow of dissatisfaction to the gift of vitality, to the highest expression or siddhi of bliss. And what I've discovered is that many people who find their way into my world arrive with a feeling that they can't quite explain. They know something isn't working. They know something feels off. They know there's more available, but they can't always pinpoint where the tension is coming from. Sometimes it shows up in their business, sometimes it shows up in their relationships, sometimes it's in their health, sometimes in their confidence, sometimes in their purpose, sometimes in all the places, sometimes in a few of the places. And what I love to do is help them trace that feeling back to its source, to get to the heart of the matter, to identify what desires refinement, to release the tension, to reclaim that energy trapped inside the pattern. Because when we stop leaking energy into fear, self-doubt, people-pleasing, overthinking, perfectionism, control, or old identities, something so beautiful happens. Vitality returns, aliveness returns, creativity returns, joy returns. We don't become somebody new. We simply become more available to who we already are. The essence shines through, the layers shed away. And that's why I don't see dissatisfaction as a problem anymore. I see it as an invitation, a signal, a doorway, a clue pointing to greater alignment, greater vitality, and more authentic expression of who we came here to be. And this realization led me to one of the most powerful questions I've encountered. And it's a question that continues to guide me today. You say you would die for it. You say you would kill for it. But would you live for it? People say things all the time like, I'd die for my children, I'd die for my dreams, I'd kill for that kind of freedom, I'd kill to have a life like that. But would you live for it? Would you fully live for it? Would you risk being seen for it? Would you risk failing for it? And again, there's really no such thing as failure, but it could be the perception of failure. Would you risk succeeding for it? Would you risk changing for it? Would you risk becoming the version of yourself that has the capacity to hold the life you say you desire? Would you risk becoming the version of yourself that your vision requires? Because that's the invitation, not to die for the dream, to live for it, to embody it, to create it, and to participate in it fully, freely, as you and as the whole of the universe intended. And that realization changed everything, because I've come to believe that life isn't something that we're here to merely survive. Life isn't something we're here to get through. Life isn't a problem to solve. Life is an experience to participate in. We came here to explore, to experience, and to expand into all that we are, to create, to express, to enjoy, to contribute, to love, to build, to play within this experience. It is a game of life. It is a joyful journey, and we get to live it all and enjoy it all. This is what we came here for, remember? And that is what Heart's Home is becoming. It's not another place to endlessly fix ourselves. It's not that. It's not another place to endlessly prepare either. Heart's Home is a conscious playground. It's a space where conscious leaders, visionaries, soulpreneurs, teachers, healers, guides, and way-showers come together to remember their wholeness and to create from that wholeness. Heart's Home is a place where healing serves creation, where self-improvement evolves into self-expression, where awareness becomes embodiment, where wisdom becomes action, where remembering becomes creating. Because I believe fully that not only are we entering a new chapter, we've entered the new story. We've entered the new timeline. The new paradigm is here. We have arrived. This is the story, this is the chapter, this is the book in the series, whatever you want to refer to it as, where we stop asking, who should I become? And we start asking, what am I here to create? And that's the journey that I desire to explore. That's what I'm interested in. That's what I'm here to share with you this season on Heart's Home. Not from a pedestal, by the way. And it's not because I have all the answers. It's because I'm walking this path too. I'm building, I'm experimenting, I'm creating, I'm learning, and I'm living, and I'm loving as I go. And if you're listening to this and something inside of you is saying, yes, there is more available maybe it's whispering, maybe it's screaming, then I want you to know something. You don't need another person to give you permission. You are the permission slip. You are the magic. You are the medicine. And maybe, just maybe, everything you've been searching for has been leading you back to yourself all along. Welcome home. As I've been reflecting on everything that I've shared today, I keep coming back to one simple truth. We are not merely here to survive. We are here to thrive. We are not here to endlessly fix ourselves. We are here to remember we are already and always have been whole. We are not here to spend our lives preparing. We are here to live, to create, to express, to explore, to love, and to contribute. To experience the fullness of being human. What I refer to as the full spectrum human experience. This is what we came here for. Remember? You may have heard the expression, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Yet I believe that there's a deeper layer to that. We are spiritual beings having a spiritual experience in a human form. We are both the frequency and the form. We are in a divine dance with the cosmos, a constant fluctuation and movement of being and becoming. It's a both and type of experience, not a either or. And I'm here to serve as the bridge and share in the expansion of consciousness. The idea of 3D and 5D consciousness has been around for a while. And the whole idea of ascension has been part of the spiritual awakening journey and the shadow of this journey for quite some time. As humans, the goal is not to ascend to 5D consciousness. That's non-physical. So sure, when we are dearly departed of the human experience and we have passed on or died, as they say, from this human experience, we will expand into 5D consciousness. But as a human living this life, that's not the goal. Because you're listening to this solo soliloquy, you're already part of these conversations. We have already moved beyond the third density consciousness. How do we know? Because you're listening to this solo soliloquy. You're already part of these conversations. This shift in frequency has already happened. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to perceive this episode. So now we are expanded into fourth density consciousness. This is the bridge between worlds. This is where we no longer stay stuck in duality, polarity, black and white, right and wrong, good or bad. We have evolved to understand that those polarities exist. And so does the full spectrum of everything in between. And our ability to hold more than one perspective, our expanded capacity to see different perspectives and to change our own perception, the way we view the experience, is what this era is all about. It's the both and, it's about standing in the power of the paradox and allowing all options to exist without invalidating any one of them, without making one better than the other, yet still using our own discernment, our own path of rightness, our dharma, to choose our preferences and to move in the direction of our heart's desires. And perhaps that's why this season feels so important to me, because for the first time in such a long time, I'm allowing myself to be someone. I'm allowing myself to express what has always been here. I'm allowing myself to be fully and freely me. And I invite you to do the same. This season of Heart's Home is not about having all the answers. It's about asking better questions. It's about becoming curious. It's about experimenting. It's about building. It's about trusting ourselves to follow what feels true. Because, as I've said, I don't believe that life is a problem to solve. In fact, I don't believe there are problems. Sure, there are challenges. Yet challenges are fun. They're like puzzles to solve, things to figure out, quests to journey on. I believe life is an experience to participate in, a grand adventure of exploration, experience, expression, expansion, and conscious creation. And Heart's Home is evolving into something much bigger than a podcast. It's becoming a conscious playground, a space for exploration, a space for experimentation, a space where curiosity, creativity, growth, and possibility and play can coexist. It's becoming a community. It's a place for meaningful conversations, for collaborations, for adventures, for shared discoveries, for real-time building, and for real-time creation. This season, you'll experience Heart's Home through 3 different types of episodes. Solo soliloquies, like this, where I'll share my own reflections, lessons, experiments, adventures, discoveries, and insights from the journey. Conscious conversations from the past 2 seasons are also coming back, where I'll sit down with inspiring leaders, visionaries, creators, soulpreneurs, teachers, guides, wayshowers, to explore what it truly means to build a life and business and a reality aligned with who they are. And Heart of the Matter sessions. This is the new addition to this season, where courageous humans will join me live to explore the subconscious patterns, fears, limitations, and hidden tensions that may be keeping them stuck. Together, we'll trace those knots back to their source, we'll illuminate the shadows and integrate what wants to be witnessed, and create space for something new to emerge. Because often the thing that's standing between where we are and where we desire to be isn't a lack of information. It's a knot, a K-N-O-T, but also a knot, N-O-T, a knot self. It's a belief, a fear, a story, a place where we've forgotten who we are. My gift is helping people journey to the heart of the matter, unwind the tension, reclaim the resources trapped inside the pattern, and transform their limitations into their launch pads for their liberation. Because I truly believe that awareness without action becomes stagnation, and action without awareness becomes misalignment. Transformation truly happens when awareness, embodiment, aligned action, and relationship come together. And that's what we're going to explore here. You'll hear stories, insights, experiments, conversations with inspiring humans, reflections from my own journey, and you'll get to witness Heart's Home, the ecosystem, the community, the collective being built in real time. And again, it's not from a pedestal. It's not because I have all the answers, but it's because I'm walking this path too. I'm building, I'm experimenting, I'm creating, I'm learning, and I'm living. My light just went off. Okay, well, we're filming without the light then. You may have noticed my light went off. Okay, whatever. And if you're listening to this and something inside you is saying, yes, there is more available, then I want you to know something. You don't need another person to give you permission. You are the permission slip. You are the magic. You are the medicine. You are the resource. And maybe, just maybe, everything that you've been searching for has been leading you back to yourself all along. And if you're feeling ready to go deeper right now, if you know that you're ready for support, partnership, and transformation in a more intimate space, I would love to invite you to work with me one-on-one. Through my Sovereign Shift journey, we embark on a 3-month or a 6-month experience together, designed to help you anchor into your own truth, your own way, your own voice, and your own path forward. For some, that journey will be about business, building something deeply aligned and allowing it to truly take off from a place of authenticity and sovereignty. For others, it will be about life itself, reclaiming clarity, confidence, vitality, purpose, and a deeper relationship with who they really are. Whatever the focus, this work is about coming home to yourself and creating from that place. I believe that this can be the year that everything changes, not because you become someone different, but because you finally trust yourself and embody who you've always been. So whether you're a conscious leader, a visionary, a soulpreneur, a creator, a teacher, a guide, a healer, or simply someone who knows there is more of life available to them, welcome. You're in the right place, because this season is for the people who are tired of being told who they should be and are ready to discover who they already are. This season is for the people moving from self-improvement to self-expression, from healing to creation, from survival to vitality, from limitation to possibility, from outsourcing their authority to trusting themselves and resourcing from within. This season is for the people who are ready to stop preparing for life and to start fully living it. So, as we begin this next chapter, this next season, this next series, this next book, whatever resonates with you, I'll leave you with a few questions and one action step. What if there was nothing wrong with you? What if the life you're seeking isn't waiting somewhere in the future? What if the wisdom you're seeking already exists within you? What if your limitations are actually invitations? What if your dissatisfaction is pointing you towards greater vitality? What if your next level isn't about becoming somebody new, but about expressing more of who you've always been? And what if the thing you've been waiting for permission to do is the very thing that life is asking you to begin now? Would you die for the life you desire? Or are you finally willing to live for it? And what are you going to do about it? What is one action step that you will take in the next 24 to 72 hours, or a week maximum, that creates the movement, that sends the signal out to the universe that you are different and you know it, so you act on it? Not just thinking about it, not just sitting and meditating on it, but actually doing it, because awareness alone is not the full picture. Inspired and aligned action are essential in this process. I would love to hear from you. I'm building an active and engaged, inspired and aligned community here. So please interact. Hit the like button, follow, subscribe, share it with a friend. Share in the comments below. Let me know what part of the podcast really spoke to you today. Did you have any aha moments? What are you claiming for yourself in this season? And claim it in the comments below. Put that energy out into the universe. Allow yourself to take up space and claim what you want so the universe knows. Share your answers to the questions in the comments. Share your action step. Inspire others and connect with me and connect with others. I will personally engage and respond to all the comments and support you and cheer you on this journey. It is my joy and my passion to share this journey with you. Thank you so much for being here, for spending your time and your energy. Thank you for walking this journey with me. Thank you for witnessing this. Thank you for being part of this community. Welcome to Season 3 of Heart's Home, and welcome home. Let's create what's next together. I'm your host, Lizzie Siegel. From my heart to yours, namaste and peace out. Conscious creators.